I'm watching Martha Stewart make fried okra. Not what I expected after seeing her make those leeks, which looked quite good. Leek soup is a popular item, right? Also. Anyway, I was just looking for something to watch, you know what I mean? And it has like, and it's like the whole channel is like Martha Stewart cooking episodes. So I think I'll be set for the next um, couple hours with some background noise. You know what I mean? Listening to Martha tell us how it's done. Anyway, I think I'm gonna start out with the what's the vibe? What's the vibe deck? Okay. Feeling groovy. You ever hear that song? Okay. It might be in somebody's wheelhouse today. All right. As we head into the weekend kickoff, right? Tomorrow's Friday. Yay! Hopefully you got everything you needed to get accomplished. Notice I said needed to get accomplished, not wanted to get accomplished, because there's definitely a difference, right? There's always something at the end of that list, you know, where it's like, yeah, we'll get to that. After all, what did Scarlett O'Hara say? Tomorrow is another day. Okay, you know what I mean? So, yes, I am in my pajama nightshirt thing. Yes. So, not my typical attire. So yes, this is for me, evening reading. Okay. Ooh, almost blew out that candle there. My incense is about halfway through. Anyway. Well, they're showing some goats on the screen now. I don't know if those are supposed to be Martha Stewart's goats or just some random goats, you know, on like for an advertisement. I think they're just supposed to be like there to like appreciate and look at and be entertained by. I mean, there's a lot of them. I'm not necessarily a goat person, but I have used like goat milk soup. And I believe I've eaten goat cheese before, but like mutton and stuff, I'm not necessarily like they serve that over in India. But I'm not necessarily a fan of that. But I have used other goat products. You know what I mean? And they will chew up your lawn for you, right? So, ooh, toxic drama, arguments, and incompatible. So, collective, either you could be dealing with somebody like this, or this is somebody that you know who attracts toxic people. Okay, like whenever you talk to them, there's some kind of drama going on. Which I kind of felt like that the other day at the fireworks. We were standing outside of the fireworks, and one of my party members was holding a sparkler on the 4th of July. This was like about 15 minutes before the fireworks were going to go off. Yeah. Yeah, somebody had to say something. And I'm like, it's like, it's like 15 minutes before the fireworks are going to go off. What is the... Apparently we were standing on their private property, you know. But like, you know, these towns, you just kind of just, you know, people just kind of descend on a town, right, on 4th of July, and you just kind of park wherever, right, and you just try and be respectful and whatever. I didn't think a sparkler was gonna trigger this lady that much, but apparently it did. And, and I shouldn't have to point it out, but it was occurring because, she was having a fit over a little sparkler. Well, there were people around us that were, you know what I mean. There was more than sparklers going on. I mean, where I live at, the whole like month leading up to 4th of July and a few days afterwards, it's just, you know what I mean? Because that's why I was like so worried about my dogs. Do you know that song? Say my name by Destiny's Child. Healing. Self-care, introspection, and meditation. So collective, you could be wanting to get into more of a healing vibe, whereas this person is just kind of like toxic things, right? Until that lady came up and started talking to us and was questioning us about our sparkler, to which I replied, "Are you serious?" I mean, you know what I mean? It was just when it's like, is she serious right now? Like, you know. Anyway. Yeah. There were no signs. There were no signs posted, FYI. She's like, well, next year this is all gonna be barricaded. I was like, okay. Oh, that's fine. Obviously she's within her right to try and make that happen. I just wish they would have done it before the day of the fireworks show, 15 minutes before the fireworks are going to start shooting off, to have and I mean, where we were at, I mean, and she's like, you entered into a private business. And I mean, people were driving up and down the road like it was a main access road. And if I recall the year prior, like the law, you know what I mean? Like some of the local county stuff, they were parked there, for like extra safety or whatever. So, why would I assume that I was breaking the law if I was, and I wasn't even in the grass or anything. We were like kind of on the, just like on the side of the road. Anyway, yes. 74-year-old woman gets kicked out of local fireworks show for holding a sparkler, right? Thankfully, we didn't have to leave, but like they sat there with their lights on behind us while the fireworks show was on. They had their vehicle lights on. Finally, about after 10 minutes into the show, they finally turned them off. I think that was them trying to like intimidate us into leaving or something, but it's like she never asked for us to leave. I mean, if she asked for us to leave, she would have had to ask like 50 other people to leave. And our crime was, being there to enjoy the fireworks and holding a child sparkler. I mean, these other folks it was like the Roman candles, except the ones you sit down on the ground. You know what I mean? And they were shooting off some real stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to laugh about things like this collective. And I was telling this, I wasn't even going to talk about this today, but when I went to get my hair done, I happened to tell my hairdresser, because she kind of had an interesting 4th of July too, where people were a little tense, and I was like, and that's why I told her, it's like, it just must be something in the air. You know what I mean? Like, and I told her, I was like, I've gotten a couple giggles out of that since it happened, and why was I appointed the ringleader, the sparkler gang, you know, and I didn't even know the other people setting off like real fireworks, what I mean? But she chose to come talk to me like I was in charge, and it's like, it was an interesting, exchange. So we'll see next year if they go to the trouble to barricade it. I mean, obviously that's within their right as a business owner. A lot of places do that because they don't like people parking on their property and stuff. I get it. Um, I think my mom was just like, it's one day a year. Like, it's not like we were doing donuts in the parking lot and tearing up the. And some people, I get it. They live in dry climates and fireworks and all that kind of stuff is weird. But like where we're at, like it had just rained earlier in the day too, so there was no like fire hazards or anything like that. But okay, so let's continue on here. Love affair, dirty little secret. Love fix, down low. Oh my gosh. Is this the person on your mind who's in the midst of a, what did they call it, Jada? An entanglement? I guess they're back together or something. Run, Will, run, right? I mean, hey, man, I'm usually with the woman on this stuff, but I don't know. It must have been the article. She does not look happy in any photos. She just does not look like she's happy. There, I said it. You know what I mean? And it's like maybe she's just somebody who's better off not being entangled to anybody. You know what I mean? I don't know. I grew up watching Fresh Prince I didn't even watch it at first. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what is this? You know what I mean? Kids know when they're being sold a gimmick, right? It's like, oh yeah, okay. Some kid from the hood, moves to some rich, blah, blah, blah. But he was so fun to watch. And the characters on the show were so great. And they were the type of people that, like, you wanted to be part of their family. Like, and you didn't care. Like you didn't care that Hillary was snooty and stuff. Because you know what? You probably have been like, hey, Hillary, can I borrow one of those sweaters? You know what I mean? And how he was always trying to get Carlton's character kind of to go along, and it's just like, anyway, I thought it was very entertaining. Puzzled, confused, perplexed, conflicted. Okay. So, collective, if you're in a relationship that leaves you feeling puzzled, you might want to ask yourself, is that a toxic relationship? Because if you're spending more time rationalizing why things happen than just going with the flow of things happening, and you're puzzled, that's a red flag. Without getting into specifics, that's a red flag. Okay? So that might be something that you're healing from. Whereas this person is still trying to figure it out. Have you ever been on those dating sites and the person puts like, still figuring it out? It's like, no, I don't. No. Give me the people that have figured it out. I don't want the one who hasn't figured it out and is openly stating still figuring. I don't want that one. No. Go do these things with other. There's plenty of other fish in the sea that are way willing to do that, trust me. It's too bad Dateline NBC never invented a dating show before all these people ended up offing these people, right? Maybe we would still have a chance. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. And that's the thing. It's like, yes, there's challenges in life. Yes, there's obstacles. But then there's people that will actively try and make things hard. Throwing stuff. Throwing stuff in your pathway. Claiming they cannot help you, claiming they don't have the time. But yet, they're making all these commitments elsewhere. Don't be puzzled about that. Right? Read that message for what it is. Okay? So again, confused, perplexed, conflicted. All right? So if you're having those kind of feelings, collective, that's a symptom of that red flag, right? She's whisking the egg yolks now. I'm not sure what she's making. Karmics, third parties, haters, lesson learned. So, yeah, collective. This could be like a leftover from the full moon type thing where there's people being exposed and now they want to like have their say so or something. And you're like, I thought you already did that by running your mouth about me for as long as you have at length. And I learned my lesson by deciding not to even worry about that or get involved in that. Do you know what I mean? There's such a thing as taking the high road, staying busy, learning a new skill. Okay? Because these folks ain't doing it. They're not. Okay? Oh, look at that. Archangel Michael. Protection, prevention from harm, divine intervention. Okay. So, yeah, consider that your sign that if you're thinking this is toxic, yes, it is. Dun dun dun, dun right? Imperial. Yeah. Sometimes it's we say easier said than done. But sometimes you just need to be done. You know? Like you can let it drag on or choose a different path. Okay? So this is so interesting. I mean, you have toxic, love affair, puzzled, karmics. Okay, and then you have healing, Archangel Michael. So that's 2 versus 4. Well, there's more of them. There's more to be tempted by, right? But what about this? What if they said it this way? What if they meant this? What if la 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 la? That's what they want you to be doing. They want you to be doing that and wasting your time, okay, instead of what you're supposed to be doing, all right? So that's part of what you might need to heal from, okay? And, the same with Archangel Michael. It's that protection, consider that, setting boundaries. Just say, oh, well, that person wasn't really truthful with me about their intentions. Okay, well, you don't need to be around that person. That's going to protect you from, and you could say, well, yeah, but they hang around so-and-so and so-and-so. Well, all right. Evil ways. Look it up. The lyrics to that song are relevant to what I just said. Gina Joan and who knows who, right? Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So, yeah, collective. This person could be appearing toxic, whereas you are actually feeling like love. Like, I want to share my life with somebody. You know what I mean? But maybe you just don't know who it is yet. That's another song by Bjork called I Miss You. Okay. So go ahead and explore that love in the way that you wish to explore it. Okay? And you could be like, well, what do you mean? The other person's not here. Okay, well, what would you say to them if you could? All right. Or maybe you're like, oh, I would want to buy them flowers, or I would want to write them a poem, or blah blah. Okay. Well, what kind of flowers? Would you have them arranged, or would you let them do that? This poem, how long is it? Is it really romantic or is it more like comedic? Like, what is, get going on it, right? What's stopping you? Okay, so that's part of this healing collective. Chemistry, there's a strong magnetic attraction here. So collective, as you get further into this healing, you're going to start having that chemistry with the right people, the right soul. Okay? Because yes, toxic people can be attracted to people that are in good energy as well. Those are called karmic people. When you're talking about like a reading. Okay? It's not really that hard to figure out, right? Because after a while you figure out, you're like, oh, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And then you're like, yeah, I'm not the karmic one. Right. Congratulations. Or maybe you've just grown out of that. Maybe for you, that's something that happened before, but you realized it was childish, or, maybe you never were, however is for you, collective. Okay. There's a lot of possibilities there, but, let go of control issues. Allow the situation to unfold naturally. Okay. So this love affair situation, collective, this could even be one of those things where you could be tempted to warn somebody. You could be tempted to, insert yourself. And I think you're being warned here to just kind of let that go. All right. So, when they say letting karma play out, sit back and watch the show. In this situation, I feel like that's what it's saying here. Okay. And you might find out some things where you're like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't reach out to that person, because what they're doing is not in alignment with anything that I want to be doing. Again, whether or not you have in the past, right? You're like, just because I haven't made that mistake doesn't mean I'm chomping at the bit to do it. Okay. Engagement, not entanglement. Engagement. Okay. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So collective, if you are puzzled like how this fits, right? I feel like you're gonna walk away from what puzzles you and walk towards what, completes that cycle. Okay? In terms of, I don't want to say like, necessarily like finishing your thought for you, but, just kind of being on the same page. Even in the same book or chapter is relevant, right? Whereas some folks, it's like you were never on the same page to begin with. In fact, they didn't even want to be on the page. They were, holding the book upside down. They were saying, oh, this is stupid. Who wants to read this stuff? Blah, 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 blah. And maybe it's something that you wrote. And they were like that. So yeah, that could leave you puzzled, being like, I was trying to express myself to this person and they just kind of, don't be puzzled about it anymore. That person is not for you. That person did not appreciate you. Okay, so wouldn't you like to be with somebody who did appreciate something of that nature? And they're out there, right? That's part of the belief that you have, collective, that some of these folks are lacking. All right, and that's part of how Archangel Michael is protecting you and guiding you. Okay, so with this divine intervention where it's like, yeah, the collective could be nice to those people, but we don't have time for that right now. We have other business to attend to, because the collective already attended to that business. So, until they set an appointment or whatever, like, you're not getting in. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. So, again, boundaries. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Wedding. This situation involves marriage. So, yeah, you're setting the karmics aside. There might be some other karmics that aren't happy about the news. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know what I mean? And like people you don't even know. You know what I mean? All of a sudden have some kind of opinion about you and your business. You're like, really? That's interesting. I guess that's how the karmics be karmicking, right? They say the frequency of reading has gone down, like reading for personal enjoyment. So, which I could see that as a lot of us are using our phones. But remember, you can use your phone also to read a book, right? Or maybe you have like a bigger, like a Kindle or something like that, or or some people like podcasts, some people like audiobooks. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to accomplish that, right? Collective. And I feel like what you've been studying has been guiding you towards this type of union. Okay. So again, there might be other people that are like, well, look at that honeymoon. So other people be like, well, what are they reading that I'm not, that's giving them the blah, blah. Well, maybe it's not the what, but it's the, how you interpret it. How does it apply to your life? So just because somebody in the collective read whatever book doesn't mean it's going to have the same impact on somebody else. Maybe there's a different book to read, and then they're like, oh, yeah, this makes sense for my life. I don't know. People get so bent out of shape these days. The sameness. Without realizing we already have that inherently as human beings, that we share that, right? Okay. So, a few more minutes here. Oh, now she's on to sauces. I was kind of wondering about this with the tartar sauces. I am not a big fan of capers, and it specifically said that she was going to make this tartar sauce with capers. But I imagine you can make it without capers as well. I know some people put, pickle relish in their tartar sauce, right? I think that's kind of how McDonald's does it. It's like a pickle relish in theirs. La da 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 da. All right, we're gonna pull some tarot. Again, just a reminder, this is during Mercury retrograde. Okay, I did look it up. Ends until about the end of the season of the crab. All right, so again, this might be a signal for people to slow down and relax, and again, enjoy summer. All right. 8 of Wands. Okay. Interesting. 4 of Cups here. So collective. This toxicity may have gotten somebody in, like the sad zone for a little while. But that's just not where you want to be. All right. So I feel like you're recognizing that, and you understand that like you control, more than you think you do when it comes to, your emotions and how that fits in with reality, and, because you're very good at processing these things. All right. Queen of Wands. Yes. Leo, again, Aries and Sagittarius. So, over the summer, maybe going outside and dancing. Go to one of these outdoor concerts or something. Go for a hike. That interaction with the atmosphere can be very healing. Okay, being out in the earth. Okay, whether it's sand, grass, um, things of that nature. Okay. Again, this is something that's going to help show off your personality as well, right? And possibly attract you, your pheromones, right? There is a chemical, I mean, have you ever met somebody and it's just like you didn't like their cologne or there's just something that weird, you know what I mean? And you're like, no, this ain't gonna work, you know? So I'm a big proponent of, not really trying to change people, trying to be accepting of people, right? Because the only person you're going to be able to ever change is yourself, right? So you can either live with that or not, you know. And that's one of those things. It's like don't be upset now, right? 10 years in, don't be upset now. Look at this, Eight of Wands again. Okay, so I think once you let go of these control issues, collective, it's going to come fast. Um, and whatever this person has been doing that's maybe perplexing you, it's gonna have a quick resolution where you're gonna be busy with other things, perhaps a new relationship that you're not gonna have time to listen to their boohoo stories about their boo-boos because their boo left them. I mean, that kind of stuff. See, yeah, Five of Swords. It's just, where at this point you're just like, it's just gossip to you. You're just like, not every relationship works out. I mean, what's the divorce rate? So consider yourself saved if you didn't go down the aisle with it, right? You know what I mean? Like, be glad you don't have that paperwork to clean up. That was one thing after I had my really bad breakup, and I thought, you know what? At least there was no paperwork involved. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. And because that would have been a nightmare. I mean, I had to file a restraining order, but I mistakenly lifted that once all of the other party's possessions were removed from my home. I thought that would be good enough, but unfortunately, the other party continued to contact me, and I considered reopening the restraining order after that, but as time went on, it dwindled, and also the other party found another, supply. So their need to leech off of me had, by then, wasn't as urgent as it was following that breakup situation. Which, I also encourage you to, call authorities if you're, asking somebody to move out. So it's supervised and then it's done. Because handling it on your own, unfortunately, that's kind of what happened in my case, where I had to get the law involved, and thankfully they arrived in time. Because the other party, they destroyed four different doors in my house. Then I had to deal with insurance later, and of course they didn't want to pay. And then I had to. Then the court, and the judge at court was ridiculous. He was like, "Why am I even here?" And it's like, this dude vandalized my home. You know what I mean? Like, I knew he didn't have any money, but the way the judge was treating it was a little sus. I felt disrespected as a person that was the owner of vandalized property. You know, it was a little ridiculous. Anyway, um, and especially since, that was while I was telling him that he was no longer welcome here. Like, that's the reason. And and other people have seen videos on YouTube. This is not like some thing that never happens. This happens all the time to women, and there's men who experience it as well. Okay. And he had already thrown me around my own home before like a rag doll. So I was not looking for version 2.0. Do you know what I mean? Like, no thank you. But the reason he came back to my house, right, is because he didn't want to go face music. And it's like, you got your sister, you got your mother, you got your brother, you got your stepdad, I mean, yeah, all these people and all his friends, right, think he's so cool. It's like, where are all these people at to take you in, pal? Right? Why you gotta come breaking down the door to my house? After I told you already to get the monkey H out of there. You know what I mean? Is it you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like, do you want to be puzzled by that, or do you just want to get on with your life and say, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. This ain't cool, man. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's cute at all. Same as when he tried stealing my vehicle. And then he beat me up bad. And I had to call 911. But I knew that he had already wrecked a vehicle. I knew what kind of driver he was under duress. And I'm like, I'm not letting that happen. And it's like, why do you think you get to steal my vehicle? This is my vehicle. Yeah, I took a nice pop to the face, and that sent me 5-6 feet across the kitchen before I hit the tile. I'm only 5'6", he's 6'3", ex-military. I ain't never been in the military. I'm not puzzled. He's a jackass. I'm not puzzled. He's karmic. I ain't puzzled. He's a violent criminal. I ain't puzzled. He's a piece of trash. I ain't puzzled. Are you? You still puzzled out there? You must not be part of this collective if that puzzles you. So, don't come up to me with some puzzled face. Alright? Keep that shit to your goddamn self. King of Cups. Yeah. Engagement. Sometimes the King of Cups can be like, oh, once you get to know him, right? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes. Then there's other times, collective, right? We're in the season of the crab right now, where it's like, I'm not giving you information. I'm not talking to you. Because I know what you're about. Sayonara. Is there somebody more tight-lipped than a King of Cups that doesn't want to speak about something? I don't know, collective, what's been your experience? Aries, Emperor. Yeah. So, collective, I feel like whoever this person is, this King of Cups, they feel like once they get this accomplished, this matrimony here, that they're going to be feeling like king of the world type thing. Aries energy as well. All right. And this is not the type of person who's going to let karmics or wistful notions ruin things. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah. That's really all I have for you guys. Then there's Queen of Wands here, King of Cups, and then again Aries, the Emperor. All right, so please do like the video. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video, but you can become one today by just hitting the subscribe button. It's completely free. I never charge you guys, right? You're just watching, paying with your time and whether or not you have a subscription to YouTube. I do, however, have a donation link that is separate if you do wish to want to contribute to the channel in that way. Otherwise, you can do it for free by liking the video or becoming a subscriber if that's what you wish. All right. So thank you for those that have already liked the video and those that continuously support the content, and also those of you who are kind in the chat and follow the rules of the chat. I had to kick somebody out today because they violated rule number 3, which was if you must dominate the chat, please go start your own channel. It's 100%, it's free. There's so many platforms where you can do this for free now, and YouTube is one of those platforms where anybody can go start their own channel. So I would highly encourage you to do so if it's something you feel passionately about, and especially if you feel passionately enough to try and troll other people during their lives or otherwise. Okay, because I can tell the difference between somebody just wanting attention and somebody contributing. Okay, so it's my corner over here, right? So those are my rules. Anyway, until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.